Hi, my name's Rod. I'm one of the physios from here at Aspetar Sports Medicine Hospital, and today we're just going to very quickly talk about a couple of injuries that might happen to your shoulder when you fall onto your shoulder. Two very common injuries that can cause a lot of pain and a lot of problems with more or less the same kind of injury mechanism. The way people fall can end up with very different problems. So I've got here just a little plastic model of a shoulder. So if this was my right shoulder, it would be sitting there like that. Take it out here at the front. This bone here, the one that you call the collarbone, joins up to this part here. This is your shoulder blade. You know your shoulder blade from around the back, but it comes all the way to the top here and attaches onto just there. Now the true shoulder joint is where the top end of your arm bone, this part up here, joins up with the shoulder blade. And these two different points can cause different kinds of injuries. Two common kinds of injuries will happen when you fall over onto your shoulder. One, if you fall directly onto the point of your shoulder, so perhaps I come down and hit like this, you can hit onto this part of your shoulder blade. This bit of bone gets called the acromion, and as it gets pulled downwards, it can stretch away from this end of your collarbone. If you do that, you can stretch these ligaments just here, and sometimes in a very bad injury, we can also stretch some of the other ligaments inside. This sort of an injury causes a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, but just really locally to this spot, and more or less your shoulder joint can be left okay. Sometimes people can come back from this injury and play sport fairly quickly, depending on the kind of sport. Often more serious when you land with your arm a little bit stretched out and hit your hand or your elbow onto the ground, the entire shoulder joint can dislocate. If this comes out, sometimes it goes out, comes back in quite easily. Other times it can cause some damage to some of the cartilage or the other cushioning around your shoulder here. If you have this kind of a problem, more often than not, the shoulder will come out towards the front. We call that an anterior dislocation. And this kind of dislocation, especially in young athletic people, has a very high rate of recurring. That is, when you go back to play sport, it often happens again and again and again. That by itself is not such a big deal, but if your shoulder is very easy to dislocate in the middle of sport, that can be a problem with playing on. So both of these kinds of injuries, an injury to the acromioclavicular joint or a dislocation of the shoulder, is the sort of thing that the staff here at Aspetar deal with all the time.